All right, today was a whirlwind of a day. I had so many things I wanted to do, and the first thing out of bed, literally in my pajamas, sandals on my feet, and I'm at the lake at as early as I could possibly get there. As I stood there casting cast after cast, I thought about the people walking past me. It was a chilly November morning, but not unreasonable. There was hardly anyone there, which is odd because there always seems to be a large event every time I go there to film. But today, I think three people passed me in the entire 45 minutes that I was there. But it always gets me thinking because if people aren't out here, where are they? They're sitting inside. They're sitting inside of their homes wondering what they're going to do with the few pennies that are left in their bank accounts. That's what regular people do. And so when I got the title today for Earn the Right to be Treated Like a Person, it reminded me that there are so many people out there, tens of millions of people, that are never going to be treated like a human being for one simple reason. They will never earn enough money to gain the respect of a human being. There is no dignity in being poor. Therefore, you're seen as an invisible person. And I tell you guys this from personal experience. Today, I was walking through a Walmart and I got to the garden center and I wanted to know if they had any desert plants. So I see what looked like a just a regular generic Walmart worker. There's nothing Hispanic looking about them at all. And I'm walking with her kind of like in in sequence, right? We're walking like together at the same, we're matching the same speed. And I ask her a simple question about the plants, and she just responds to me in the most crystal clear Mexico City Spanish accent. And she starts talking to me that way until we get to the back of all the way to the back of the store where she looks around. She says, "There's nothing here." And I say to her, "I guess people are cutting back on everything. Plants aren't something that you can eat. House plants aren't something that a person can eat. So Walmart's selling a lot less of them. And that whole outdoor area used to be full of plants. But when you're a nationwide grocery store, you know where you can sell certain things. This isn't an area where they can sell that product." So we talked back and forth. I haven't spoken Spanish in, God, I don't even know how long. Probably a few months, maybe longer than that. So I was rusty. I still could understand everything she said. I could still respond, but I could tell that I was having to dig a little deeper into my own resources in order to continue the conversation, even as lightly as it was going. But in that moment, I came to the conclusion that she talks to everyone in the store that she deems looks Latino in the same way. She'll just walk up to you and just assume things. And that's the way that we assume that poor people don't matter. We look at them, you look at the clothes they're wearing, you look at the car they're driving. Even I look at what brand of what do you call it? Fitness clothing that people are wearing. Any person who's wearing Lululemon at the gym is probably someone that I can't afford to talk to. But that's really what it comes down to. We don't move in circles evenly in our society. There are sharp distinctions between the haves and the have nots. You ever notice how being broke turns you invisible? Like the moment your bank account hits single digits, even the self checkout starts giving you attitude. The whole system acts like you're personally inconveniencing capitalism by existing without a platinum card. It's like if you can't afford comfort, you don't deserve kindness either. I have felt this from so many different cashiers. I mean, on the average week, I would say that I feel this 5 to 10 times where the cashier will look at you. Remember, you're talking about a cashier who's working for minimum wage. They'll give you the up and down, look at your shoes, look at your hair, look at your face, and they will make a decision on whether or not they even want to be nice to you. And we've all acknowledge the fact that sometimes people treat the person right in front of you differently than the person that's standing right behind that person. It's happened to me at Zio Records, at Walmart, at even at Circle K. Yesterday I was getting gas and the cashier was really nice to this little old man who was standing in front of me. As soon as she saw me, she just like turned her nose up at me like, great. I really need this attitude from someone who's sitting inside of a little box charging people for gas. But that's the world we live in. People aren't kind to each other anymore, any more than the system is kind to you. Every Friday when you get paid and you think about how anyone could think that this is a real adult sized paycheck, this isn't 9 inches and 6 inches around. This paycheck is the size of a baby carrot. And you know what I'm talking about because we know that fleece brings the heat. But you, the person that's on the receiving end of Pound Town, what do you have? You don't have anything. And it shows in the way that we interact with every aspect of our life. I just got back from the gym. I wanted to wash my hands. There's no water today. Luckily, I did all my water changes in my aquarium this morning and all the cleaning. But yeah, you come home, you push open the little tab thing, and nothing happens. Why can they treat us like this? For the same reason that your boss looks down upon you. There's no dignity down here. The people that can afford to live here are treated worse than dogs. No AC, no water, no repairs to your apartment. The landscaping is rarely taken care of. It's a high crime area. In fact, I was driving into the apartment complex and this lady of the night, let's call her. She walked past I drove past her in the parking lot and she waved at me. And I found out 2 weeks ago that that's where the ladies of the night hang out, is in the back of the parking lot, waiting to see who needs a ride. And I was just like, $100 maybe. Then I thought, $100, that's a lot of ramen. In fact, today I stocked up on ramen. If I'd given her a ride, she would have looked at my car and seen like, oh my God, this is all you bought is ramen? You can't afford to ride. But, you can dream. All right, let's get into talking point number one. You're not lazy. You're just tired of selling your hours to survive. Every day feels like renting your own body back from the system. They call it ambition, but it's really exhaustion in a uniform. Smiling while your life gets cashed out one shift at a time. I was just walking through Kroger's and one cashier walked past me, or I shouldn't say cashier. She was pushing one of those pickup order carts. And she looks at me and it's like, I'm done with this millennial thing. I just want to get marked. And I was just like, this is a person who's been working there, I'm going to say 6 years. And 4 of those years, I think she started working there when she was 16 or 17, and she's around 22 now. Because I've lived in this general area most of my adult life. So I meet people who work in grocery stores all the time. They're the people that I talk to. They're the people that are accessible to a person in my predicament. When your social bubble is more like isolation, like living in lockdown in a prison isolation ward where you sit in the dark by yourself all day long hoping you don't go crazy. But I think most of us have gone crazy. Even when you have a significant other, it's very easy to feel completely isolated. One of the girls that was working there spent like, I'm going to say 5 minutes just telling me about how her Halloween was. She was in the cookie aisle. The girl that works in the deli spent about 15 minutes telling me about her fish tanks. And the girl that was working the actual cashiering job, she told me about, how people said that they were bored at the Halloween party that she threw a couple days ago. I mean, you hear all these weird stories, but these are people that are trapped with very limited social access, right? For the vast, how could I put this? Most people don't have friends even when they think that they have friends. And that's something that I've noticed throughout my entire life. I've been alone most of my adult life. And one thing that I learned very quickly, I shouldn't say quickly, it does take a while to get used to just being by yourself. And the way that I managed to do that was you have to have a plan. You can't expect to sit at home and rub your thumbs together and hope that it doesn't get to you. Because if you don't do anything, it will get to you and it will get to you pretty quickly. So, like a person like myself, I've had a go go kind of day. I've had home projects. I've had gardening that I've been doing inside of my house. I moved a couple of plants out of soil into existing little bubbles that I have. I like having house plants that exist inside of just water, and then you just give them nutrients from a bottle. I think it looks pretty cool. And I moved, and then I rearranged my fish tanks. I bought some blue tetras to put in the tank over there, and I just kept myself occupied. Keeping your mind occupied when you're living in isolation can save you from a lot of torment. Because being alone, especially indefinitely, is very hard on you. And it adds to that even tougher part of your life, which is going to work and feeling like you're still alone. I mean, every day that I go to McDonald's and you're standing there at the fry-later, the sweat on your brow, you look at the customers, you look at your coworkers, they don't see you. All we see is inmate 0001. That's all we see. Because not only are you invisible to rich people when you have the indignity of poverty, but we're invisible to one another. And that's the frightening part. Because although we're sharing the same cage, everyone sees themselves as being better than that. Talking point number two. They say money can't buy happiness, but it definitely buys mercy. When you're broke, one wrong move becomes a crime. The rich get warnings, the poor get consequences. Forgiveness isn't morale, it's financial. It's so true. Remember, guys? Remember what happened in 2008? Socialize the losses, privatize the profits. Why? Because those people don't deserve anything. If you're poor, the rich believe you should constantly be punished, either with more work, less money, less food, crappy housing, and a promobile that sounds like it's on its last leg every time you turn it on. And I mean, I've seen some promobiles that just you wonder how they even stay together, right? You got four donuts, a broken windshield, faded paint, and they sound like terrible. They don't sound like a car. They sound like an apparatus that's yearning to be put out of its misery. But if you're poor, that's what you have to drive. Or worse, you have to ride the bus with all the other poor people. I spent many years taking long, long bus rides to a job that wasn't worth it. And I think that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. It's the job that isn't worth it. And you make one wrong move financially, and guess what? Now you're homeless. And that's where the story ends for a lot of people. Because once you get there, once you hit that level of poverty, no one's going to hire you when you're dirty and disgusting and have no place to live. That is the trap of being down there. And the social safety net, it really doesn't exist. We live in a system that wants you working, not on welfare. We want a system that wants you hungry, not well fed. It wants you tired, not rested. Because people who can make good decisions and have the ability to decide what they're going to do with their time, These aren't the desperate piece of crap people that you want working for you. You want every person working for you needing to get to that Friday. In fact, I was having a conversation with a Mick worker Friday. He's like, he told me straight up, straight to my face, he said, I can't miss one paycheck. And I was just like, what? For him to be that open about his financial situation, this is a person at McDonald's that I would consider has a decent job. But when even that guy tells you, I got to work the fry later night and day because I need that money. And I just thought to myself, if this guy, because I looked out in the parking lot and I saw what car he's driving, and I'm like, what what are they paying this guy? You- Sometimes you scratch your head and you look at someone and I'm like, okay, well, that's neat. Today while I was at PetSmart, I was standing in line paying for my $3 fish, right? Blue tetras are some of the cheapest fish that you can buy. Something that I can afford, right? And I turn my head and there's one of the executive workers from McDonald's. And I yell over, hi, Melissa. She looks at me with an uncomfortable face, smiles, and then keeps walking. And you're like, oh, well, I guess it's like that. Unless you need someone for something, talking to them is completely optional. In that sense, you feel how invisible it was. Inconvenient for her to run into someone she knew from work. And you guys should see this person. They walk around in like 6-inch heels. She's probably, I'm going to say 60 years old. And she's got that full war paint on. And it just, she's a person that has money. I'm sure she's pulling down $250,000 a year. But again, I'm not. And she knows that. Every time you walk out into the parking lot at your job and you look at the cars of these proles, it's easy to tell. Even their attitude when they're in public seems demoralized and sad. But with that said, let's get into our final talking point. The world runs on the back of people who can't afford to stop moving. You hand over your time, your health, your patience, all for someone else's comfort. The economy praises productivity, but hides the bruises that keep it running. You know who likes to give you bruises, right? Fleece. Fleece is already sharpening his tool right now to make certain that he gives you as many bruises back there as humanly possible. And the sad part is he never gets tired. He never offers to be gentle. It's always the hard way. And that's the way that it comes down to with wages. It's always the hard way. No matter where you go, you're not making enough. You can never chase the carrot fast enough because at the end of chasing the carrot, if you were ever to actually touch the carrot from chasing it your whole life, you would realize that it was never a carrot. And in fact, that the second you realize that you were reaching for nothing, they'd hit you over the head with a stick. Because that's what the system does. It doesn't like you, it doesn't want you, and it doesn't feel like it needs to treat you like a human being. And it never will. Because that's the way the system was created. Always the stick, never the carrot. If it's not over your head, well, we know what fleece is. All right. They say dignity is free, but only if you can afford the subscription to humanity. You spend your whole life proving you're worth basic respect just to end up judged by people who've never gone a day hungry. Maybe the real poverty isn't being broke, it's a world that forgot what being human costs. I've broken down the cost of being human dozens, hundreds of times, maybe thousands of times on this channel because the price of being human, no one takes into consideration because no one thinks about someone else's health care or what they're going to eat that day or whether or not they have a job that treats them with any kind of respect. Most of us close our eyes at 8 a.m. and go to our special place because you know that at the end of the day, you're not going to have anything better than what you had at the beginning of the day. I keep thinking about that woman who was on the Epic Economist couple days ago where she said, I went to work for 6 hours for $50 or something like that, some ridiculous amount of money for the minimum wage. Probably a waitress, and people are very, very cheap these days. The days of people being generous are long gone. People right now are scared. They're wondering how they're going to make it. And they, good Lord, and they keep buying lottery tickets. I was checking out today at Kroger's and I looked at a girl that was probably mid 20s just shoving dollar bills into that lottery machine. That's the desperation of human beings, is that every single store has a casino like product in it. And poor people don't know what to do. They see the ship sinking all around them and they don't know what to do. So instead of trying to come up with some sort of strategy that doesn't exist, they pump their money into the scratcher's ticket machine, hoping that they can just win. Because every time someone puts money into a machine like that, they're expecting that it's going to give them money back. And somehow the rewards, they bypass logic, right? You put thousands of dollars into that scratcher's machine and you've probably gotten back maybe 1/100th of your money back. Let's say every once in a while you win $200, but you put $1,000 to get that. People are always looking for the easy way out. Anyhow, it is Sunday afternoon. Yesterday was one of the most frustrating days of my entire life, and today was just so many things to do that I haven't had a chance to power down yet. So I hope you enjoyed your weekend. I hope you had a safe Halloween and that you didn't do anything stupid. The last thing that you want to do is end up waking up with the crotch crispies in an inflatable frog costume. But if it happened to you, hey, that's life, and those are the consequences. Keep your head up and keep your hands back there to keep fleece out.